Searching for peace? Welcome to Adullam. At Adullam, find the solace you need and the encouragement you seek. A place where your soul can rest and your heart can heal. Embrace the calm and let hope blossom. Adullam, a refuge for the weary. Your journey to peace starts here.
When curiosity becomes compromise, the danger of blurring spiritual lines. There comes a time where believers have a question to ask. This is a question many believers will eventually face. How far can I go in seeking understanding before I step into something God never intended? Most people who become spiritually confused did not begin by rejecting God. They began by asking questions. Questions are not the problem. God created human beings with minds capable of reasoning, learning, and exploring. Throughout Scripture, people sought understanding, but the problem arises when the pursuit of knowledge becomes more important than obedience to truth. Today, we are not talking about ignorance versus intelligence. We are talking about discernment. Where is the line between healthy spiritual curiosity and dangerous spiritual compromise? And what happens when that line becomes blurred? Firstly, we need to understand that God never condemned the search for understanding. The Bible repeatedly encourages wisdom. It says in Proverbs 4:7 that wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So God is not threatened by investigation. Luke records that the Bereans examined teachings carefully before accepting them. Where he said, Acts 17:11 says, they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily, whether those things were so. Notice what they use as their standard: scripture, not their feelings, not the trends that were happening at that time, not popular teachers, not hidden knowledge. Truth was tested against God's revealed word. So seeking understanding is biblical. Seeking understanding apart from God's truth, that's where the danger actually begins. Secondly, let's look at why people start blurring spiritual lines. Because most spiritual confusion usually would begin with a desire for more, like say more insight, more certainty, more answers, more experiences. The temptation is not usually evil on the surface. It often appears very noble. People become fascinated by ideas that promise deeper knowledge than scripture alone, like secret revelations like hidden codes, ancient mysteries, special spiritual techniques, exclusive insights available only to a select few. Yet, the scripture repeatedly warns against this mindset. Yeah, it says that. Look at Colossians 2:8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit after the tradition of men. The danger is not learning. The danger is elevating human speculation above divine revelation. And there are factual biblical examples of such bloodlines. The first spiritual deception that was recorded in the Bible, in the scripture, involved questioning God's boundaries. In Genesis 3, the serpent, it did not begin with rebellion. It began with curiosity. He said, "Hath God said?" Do you see that? The issue was not information. The issue was distrust. King Saul eventually sought guidance from a medium after God had already spoken against such practices. His desire for answers became greater than his commitment to God's commands. Israel, they repeatedly adopted practices from surrounding nations while claiming they could still honor God. God consistently rejected this mixture. The pattern appears throughout the scripture. So truth mixed with error remains error. A small compromise often opens door to larger compromise. Now, the pros of seeking greater understanding is this. When we seek understanding, it can strengthen our faith. It can also expose false teaching. It can help us develop discernment. It can increase biblical literacy. It can help believers answer difficult questions, deepen our appreciation for God's creation, equip us as Christians to engage culture wisely. Many great theologians, historians, scientists, apologists, they all pursued knowledge while remaining firmly grounded in biblical truth. The issue was never the learning, the issue was foundation. However, we've mentioned the pros. We should also understand that there are the cons of blurring spiritual lines, because the risks are very significant, because there can be confusion between biblical truth and human speculation, dependence on experiences instead of scripture, pride from believing one possesses specific knowledge, and being vulnerable to deception. Yeah, vulnerability to deception is bound to happen. Also, there's the gradual movement away from biblical authority. Then you start having spiritual instability. And the farther a person moves from God's revealed truth, the more difficult discernment becomes. Not because truth becomes unclear, but because the competing voices become louder, because you are hearing from both sides, so there is no clarity at that point. But we have a solution. How do you test what you are learning? Because every spiritual claim should be tested. You start by asking, does this agree with scripture? Does it glorify Christ? Does it require knowledge outside God's revealed word for salvation or spiritual maturity? Is it producing humility or pride? Would the apostles recognize this teaching? Does it bring clarity or confusion? Because God is not the author of confusion, and truth can withstand examination. Falsehood often depends upon ambiguity. So, seeking understanding is not dangerous. Abandoning discernment is. God never called his people to intellectual laziness. Neither did he call them to chase every mystery. The safest place for curiosity is beneath the authority of scripture. And this is not because questions are wrong, but because truth has boundaries. And sometimes the most spiritual thing a person can do is to recognize the difference, or better still, to recognize where those boundaries exist. I hope we've all learned something today. If this has blessed you one way or other, share it with other people. And also, please subscribe to our channel, as we have every episode we have new episodes being released every week. Until next time, bye for now.